Thanksgiving was always your favorite time of year. The warmth of the oven mingling with the chill in the air, the comforting chaos of family bustling around, and the unspoken truce everyone called holiday spirit. But this year it felt heavy. You stared at the table in your small apartment, laden with ingredients you didn't have the energy to cook. Your partner, Jordan, stood at the sink, rinsing a plate with methodical intensity. "Why are you even bothering with that pie crust?" "Everyone loves store-bought better anyway," they said without looking at you. You paused, knife hovering over the pile of apples you'd been peeling. It wasn't about the pie. It hadn't been about the pie for months now. It was about the way every effort you made seemed to be met with criticism. You were trying so hard to make it all work. Your relationship, their stress, their sharp words. But lately, every move you made felt like stepping into quicksand. "I just thought homemade would be nice," you said evenly, fighting the urge to snap. "Yeah, well, it's a waste of time," they muttered, setting the plate down with a clatter. It hadn't always been like this. When you and Jordan first got together, they were a whirlwind of charm and ambition. You admired their independence, their drive. But over time, their relentless focus on work and avoidance of anything vulnerable had built a wall between you two, especially during the holidays. In years past, Jordan had skipped Thanksgiving with your family altogether, citing work, a headache, or conveniently timed arguments. You'd gone alone, fielding questions about their absence with awkward excuses. But you always hoped the next year would be different. That hope was the only thing keeping you from walking away. This year, though, you couldn't deny it anymore. The relationship had run its course, and yet the thought of leaving them just before the holidays felt cruel. Jordan didn't have anyone else in town. They'd moved here for work, and never forged connections outside of you. As much as they drove you crazy, the idea of them spending Thanksgiving and Christmas alone in their apartment was unbearable. By the time Thanksgiving morning rolled around, you'd made your decision. You were going to end it. But not today. Not when your family's home was filled with love, laughter, and enough food to feed a small army. "Hey," you said gently as Jordan scrolled through their phone on the couch. "There's a big family dinner at my parents' house today. I really want you to come." Jordan gave you a skeptical look. "We've been over this. It's not my thing." "Look, I know it hasn't been easy between us," you said, sitting beside them. "But you've missed the last 3 Thanksgivings. It's important to me. And honestly, I think it'd be good for you to be around some love and community." Jordan hesitated. For a moment, their guarded expression softened. "I'll think about it," they said, not meeting your eyes. When you arrived at your parents' house later that day, Jordan wasn't with you. You had tried. They had a million reasons why they couldn't come, and you didn't have the energy to fight them on it. The house was alive with the smells of roasted turkey, cinnamon, and pumpkin. Your niece ran up to you with a crayon drawing of a turkey, and your mom handed you a glass of wine before you even took your coat off. It felt good to be here. But the empty passenger seat in your car weighed heavy on your mind. Later that evening, as the family settled into post-dinner laughter and dessert, your phone buzzed, a text from Jordan. "I should have come. I'm sorry. Are you still there?" You stared at the message, torn between relief and frustration. This was the cycle. They always waited until the moment had passed to regret missing it. By the time New Year's rolled around, you knew it was time for a fresh start. You invited Jordan to the family party one last time, giving them the chance to join you in a new chapter, or to prove that it was time to turn the page alone. As expected, they declined, citing work stress. But this time, you didn't plead. You didn't wait for an apology text. Instead, you went to the party, laughed with your family, and danced into the new year with a lightness you hadn't felt in months. The next morning, you met with Jordan at your apartment. "I think we both know this isn't working anymore," you said gently. "I care about you, but we're not good for each other." Jordan looked at you, eyes wide, with a mix of surprise and resignation. "So, that's it?" "Not exactly," you said. "You don't have anyone here, and I don't want you to feel alone during the holidays. You're still invited to my family's Christmas party. They love you, and they'll be happy to have you there. But after that, I think we need to go our separate ways." They nodded slowly, not arguing for once. "I don't know if I'll come, but thanks." The holiday season didn't fix everything. But as you stood in your parents' living room on Christmas Day, surrounded by love and laughter, you realized something. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do, for yourself and someone you care about, is to let go. The first sign that something was wrong was during Thanksgiving dinner prep. You and Maya had always been a team in the kitchen. At least, you thought you were. This year, though, every suggestion you made seemed to irritate her. "Why don't we move the mashed potatoes over here so there's more space for the turkey?" you said, nudging a bowl aside. Maya sighed audibly, crossing her arms. "Why do you always try to rearrange everything? It was fine where it was." You blinked, caught off guard. "I'm just trying to help." "Well, maybe don't," she shot back, turning her attention to the stuffing without another word. It wasn't the first time. Lately, it felt like every interaction was a misstep on your part. You tried harder to be thoughtful, to make her life easier, but nothing seemed to land right. Her tone, her body language, it all made it clear. You were more of a burden than a partner these days. The family party that evening was a warm, chaotic celebration. The house was packed with relatives, kids running through the halls, and a table that sagged under the weight of holiday dishes. Maya stayed home, claiming exhaustion from work. You covered for her as usual. "She's just swamped at the office," you told your mom, who raised a skeptical eyebrow but didn't press further. Deep down, you knew it wasn't work. Maya had been skipping these gatherings for years, always finding a reason not to come. As the evening went on, you watched your cousins laughing over wine, your aunt telling her annual story about the time she burned the turkey, and your dad sneaking extra whipped cream onto his pie. It hit you like a cold wind. This was what you wanted. Connection, joy, family, and Maya didn't seem to want any of it. Not with you, not with anyone. Thanksgiving was supposed to be a time of gratitude and togetherness. This year the air between you and Alex felt colder than the November chill outside. The two of you had started the day with the usual traditions, cooking together, setting the table, but even small moments were marred by tension. "Do you really need to cut the carrots that way?" Alex asked as they walked past the counter, their tone sharp. You sighed, pausing mid-slice. "It's just, how I've always done it." "Well, maybe try doing it quieter for once." The words stung more than they should have, and not because of the carrots. This had become the rhythm of your relationship lately. Your every action met with criticism. Every effort twist Dee into something wrong. You were trying, bending over backward, to make things easier for Alex, but it was never enough. Later that day, you headed to your family's big Thanksgiving dinner alone. Alex had once again declined, claiming they were too exhausted to deal with a crowd. This wasn't new. They'd skipped almost every holiday gathering in recent years. Sometimes it was work, sometimes a last-minute argument. But the result was always the same. You walking into a room full of relatives with an empty seat beside you. Your mom gave you a warm hug as you walked in, her eyes scanning for Alex. "They're not coming again?" she asked gently. "No," you said, trying to keep your tone neutral. They weren't feeling up to it. The evening unfolded in its usual chaotic, joyful way. Kids laughing, cousins swapping stories, your dad making his famous, terrible jokes. But beneath the warmth, a quiet sadness gnawed at you. This was what you wanted, a life filled with love, laughter, and connection. Yet year after year, Alex stayed on the sidelines, unwilling or unable to share in it with you. As December rolled in, you couldn't shake the growing clarity. This relationship wasn't working. You cared about Alex deeply, but the spark that once brought you together had long since faded. What remained was a growing chasm of resentment and unmet needs. But there was a moral complication. Alex didn't have anyone else in town. Their family was distant, both geographically and emotionally, and their few friendships were surface level at best. If you walked away now, they'd be spending the holidays alone, and the thought weighed heavily on you. Still, the thought of dragging this into another year felt unbearable. One evening, you sat down with Alex in your living room, the glow of the Christmas tree casting soft light on the tension between you. "Alex, I need to talk to you about something," you began, your voice steady but quiet. They looked up from their laptop, already bracing for what was coming. "What now?" Us. It isn't working anymore," you said, choosing your words carefully. "I've tried to make things better, but it feels like we're stuck in this cycle of hurting each other, and I don't think either of us is happy." Alex stared at you for a moment before setting their laptop aside. "So, what? You're just done? You're walking away. I care about you, Alex, but this isn't healthy for either of us," you said. "That doesn't mean I want to leave you alone during the holidays. My family's Christmas party is next weekend, and you're still invited. They love you, and you're welcome there." Alex's expression shifted from anger to something softer, though no less pained. "I don't know if I can handle that." "I understand," you said, "but the invitation is open." Christmas Eve arrived, and as you expected, Alex didn't come. You tried not to dwell on it as you stepped into your parents' home, where the familiar warmth of family wrapped around you like a favorite sweater. This time, you didn't have to explain Alex's absence. Your family seemed to sense the shift, offering quiet support without pressing for details. As the night wore on, you felt something you hadn't in a long time: peace. You laughed, shared stories, and let yourself be fully present. For the first time in months, the weight of trying to hold a broken relationship together was gone. The next morning, you woke up to a text from Alex. "I'm sorry for everything. I hope you had a good Christmas." You stared at the message for a moment before typing back, "I hope you did, too. Take care, Alex." It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was an honest one. You'd done your best to be kind, to leave the door open for connection without sacrificing your own peace. As the new year approached, you felt ready to step forward, alone, perhaps, but lighter. Sometimes letting go is the greatest gift you can give, to someone else and to yourself.